Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. It's Disthunder from thefoosh.com, and I have another custom showcase for you. Today, if you couldn't already tell, we're looking at my custom Spawn figures. I've got 6 of them here, ranging from pretty basic Marvel Legends hack jobs to full-on customs, and I'll leave it up to you to determine which ones are which. But like the last video, I just want to do a quick overview and just kind of give you a minute or so on each figure and go through some of the finer points. And hopefully this is something I can add to later with some more figures. Angela's pretty easy. Marvel Legends figure with some new earrings added to better reflect the book. Then just some cloth goods here and there to fill her out. Really, there's nothing on this figure I felt needed much improvement. She scales really well with my Spawn custom, and that's really all you can ask for. Redeemer's a bit more involved. Mostly mezco-stlye for the base body, and then I used some movie Aquaman armor to fill in the rest, which matches the details of that famous cover figure that I stole the head and the sword and the other parts from pretty good. Now the wings, pretty obvious one, right? This is a DC Universe Classics Hawkman set of wings. Those are still probably the best wings for your buck on the market as far as articulation goes. When the new Redeemer figure comes out, I may have to revisit this, but I'm still pretty happy with it overall. Articulation is somewhat limited for obvious reasons because he has lots of armor on, but he can still strike some decent poses, and he looks pretty good holding his sword. Although if we get a new sword, I might change that out. So the nexus of this whole project was really the MK11 Spawn figure, and this is that figure, just cut up and rearranged and glued on top of a Mezco Black Panther. If it sounds terrible, it kind of was, but I've gotten a lot better at it over time. The real selling point for me was when GPS Lot offered up this perfectly colored maroon cape with an integrated posing wire that made it feel like a factory figure. But I kept that removable just in case. That way, if I want a more Soul Calibur look, all I have to do is remove that head and pull the cape off and I'm good to go. I'd like to eventually find a good unmasked head for him as well, preferably one with the shoelace in the front. But I feel like he's pretty well accessorized as it is right now. I've got the axe, I've got swords, I've got chains, he's good to go. The other thing that's nice about that Black Panther body is he retains almost all of his articulation with the exception where I glued that M on the front of him. Overall, it's a really satisfying build, and it's a figure I pull off the shelf and play with a lot. So much so I even made one for a buddy of mine, which I'm pretty selfish. That's kind of an unusual thing for me. While the texture's not a perfect match for the game, I feel like it's pretty damn close, and every time I look at it, I still feel pretty proud of it. So when I did Commando Spawn, I basically did the exact same thing over again. He makes use of the MK11 parts, but I added in some Mezco cable pouches. He has a Marvel Legends harness. And I was even able to sneak in a couple of old parts from the classic figure, including that Ninja Spawn sword that I just stuck in the back there. For loadout, he's got lots of MP5s, but every once in a while I'll dig out these classic Spawn movie guns and throw them in his hands just because I love these stupid things. I don't even know what they shoot. But overall, like the regular Spawn figure without the cape on, his articulation is pretty unencumbered. You can see a little bit of Black Panther there. The newest addition, of course, is Gunslinger Spawn. He also shops at GPS Lot. He's got a Dante coat on that, again, the color match is really good. And while the base body was way too lanky to make use of, I kept all of his guns, like that sweet lever action he's got there, and was able to move most of that and his web gear onto kind of a hodgepodge Mezco body. There's some Wolverine, there's some Old Man Logan. I don't even know where the torso came from. But luckily, all the articulation still works together pretty well, all things considered, and he's got a decent range of motion, even though I had to kind of lengthen those shins to get him that lanky look. I think it came out pretty good, though, because he has kind of a striking profile, and he does look markedly different from, like, say, Commando Spawn here, where he's still at least half a head taller. And since I've been on a major cowboy bend, this is another really satisfying build for me. After this, I definitely want to take another crack at Medieval Spawn and Raven Spawn. Lastly, let's take a look at Overkill. He is obviously not a Mezco figure. He is Marvel Legends Nuke with a whole bunch of Build-A-Figure parts stuffed under him. And while the style and even my color choices aren't perfect, I feel like scale-wise, he's just about what I want. I think McFarlane's going to do a new one, so we may be revisiting this one anyway. I had intended to give him an action feature, though. I wanted to have like a battle damage arm I could pop on there. Kind of like how the original figure had the ejectable head. No, just something with some sparks and some wires hanging out of it. Could have been cool. I may come back to that. And that's going to do it for today. Thanks for stopping by. You can always find more of my stuff at Disthunder on Instagram.